We are so back, baby. The Eastern Roman Empire, the Byzantine Empire, Byzantium, whatever you want to call it, it's back. Turning Greece into a major power day one is going to have some pretty huge impacts on the game. Consider this part of the HOI4 Ideology series. I just had to do things a bit differently to make this one work this time around. Regardless, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more HOI4 content to come. And I also have some more Civ 6 stuff in the works, so stay tuned for that. The button has been pressed. Byzantium is big, beautiful, and most importantly, very purple. And we're going to see how things go from here. It is April of 1936 because I had to actually let some time go by because I didn't want to fire the events manually. I wanted them to fire on their own. That way everything was as smooth as possible. So from here on out, it's going to be AI only and I will not touch it. So an agency has been created. I don't even know where to begin trying to pronounce this thing, so I'm not even going to try to because Greek is not a real language. You cannot convince me otherwise. Greece is up to a war economy. We have Metaxas here as their political power and factory output. This Napoleon guy down here, because why wouldn't you have a guy named Napoleon in your war cabinet if you could? And I don't know how this happened. I don't think this usually ever happens in HOI4, but Italy has signed a white peace with Ethiopia because they could not push into their lands. So Ethiopia is independent and at peace currently. So rip Mussolini. The Anschluss has happened. France has joined the Allies. Things are starting to heat up just a bit. But the cherry on the top for me currently is that the Axis has a new member, and that is indeed the Byzantine Empire, which is definitely going to open up more fronts over here in Syria as well as in the Caucasus. That may end up making it a little bit harder for Stalin to push the Germans back. Generally, they'll push and then they will get pushed back. I feel like Germany loses more often than they don't. I am using expert AI as well, so it'll probably be a little more difficult. But this extra front down here, and remember, this is all core land from the decision that allows them to form it. So I think this swings definitely in favor of the Axis, but we'll see how things go in time. And with the war kicking off between Japan and the Chinese United Front, I'm interested to see that these Sikyang or whatever have joined the Comintern. I don't feel like I've ever seen that before, but we'll see how it goes. It may help them preventing any sort of catastrophe from going, but they're kind of in the middle of nowhere. So I don't really know if they're actually in danger anyways. It would take literally like months for the Japanese to even march over there. So who knows? And Danziger War, well underway. Only a matter of time before things get a little bit spicy over here in Central Europe. And I always say it when I see it, but you gotta say it. Rip Poland. But what I find more interesting is that the Byzantines have joined and they essentially are going to have free reign on one front here in Northern Africa. And I think through their mission tree, they can actually get decisions that will give them cores on all of this land. Now, I don't know if the AI is even capable of clicking those buttons because Paradox does weird stuff like that. But if they can distract the allies for long enough, it looks like they will probably be able to win the war for the Axis. But having them in the Axis is obviously a big deal because if they can distract the allies, they can definitely swing the balance of power, like I said before, but they may even be able to like get onto the British Isles, which generally is very hard. But if the Byzantines are just cranking out ships for the next couple of years, it's anybody's game. The Axis continues to push from the east as well as from the west of Egypt, pinching the British down here. And the Italians have overrun the Allies in Tunisia, encircling a few men over here in Tunis itself. Meanwhile, the Germans begin and continue their march towards Paris. I can't imagine it's going to go much different than it does every other time because we don't have a beefy French commune this time around. And there we have it, the good old Vichy France set up in the south, which is actually super funny because the French had actually navally landed or something like that, and they actually controlled Genoa, and Italy was kind of getting overrun over here, and then the Germans bailed them out because, you know, it's the Germans and the Italians. It's kind of like one-to-one. It has to happen. And yep, the next one to fall will be Yugoslavia with a lot of green bubbles for their enemies. And they are going to fall, probably mostly going to Italy, if I had to guess. But the losses are absolutely insane for the Allies. You've got over 1 million losses to the UK, 500,000 before France capitulated. Poland took 250,000. I didn't even know they had that many men. And somehow Canada with over 200,000 losses, Yugoslavia with 100, and South Africa with almost 100. So I'm really surprised at how many men these people are able to land, but they're taking the losses. And meanwhile, it's March of 1941, and somehow, some way, Franco is not capitulating the Republicans, and the Spanish Civil War continues. And these guys are like quite entrenched. So I doubt the nationalists can actually even win at this point unless the Republicans like throw, basically. And since France is getting dominated so hard, a bunch of their colonial territories are breaking free. So that's pretty funny. Germany working on their war with the USSR focus. The USSR has annexed the Baltic states, so it's definitely going to be a big clash. I'm a little disappointed because Byzantium is being a big dingus, and they're just giving away the lands over here in Egypt, giving control of these territories to Italy and Germany, and there's literally no purpose for them to do this other than to create disgusting border gore and upset us, the viewers. It's off to where we go, and even Finland has decided that they want round 2 with the Soviets after the Winter War. And it looks like we are breaking through in the Caucasus as well as, of course, in the Ukraine, Poland, that region. So I imagine that the Comintern is going to get rolled, but only time is going to tell. The war continues on the entire front. It actually looks like the Axis is kind of stalling out. It's been going on for a few months now. A bit of push up here, but these guys are not making much progress over here, and they're definitely not making any progress over here, though Iran joined the Comintern and they are getting pushed in. But sadly, it looks like it's not going to go their way because the US has joined the Allies, and the relentless naval invasions are very certainly going to start soon. Losing in the north, looks like they're still losing in the central parts, and definitely stalemated down here. Though it looks like there has been a naval landing by the Soviets in northern Anatolia. However, there's also been a naval landing in Germany, specifically in France, and they are reconquering the land for Belgium as well. So probably going to be the end. But with as many men in the field as they have, I cannot imagine that they will get rolled that easily. Also, Algeria broke free and they got capitulated, and Byzantium just took this one area here. Like, this is just theirs. They took it in a peace deal, so that's kind of funny. And yeah, the liberation continues with the Belgians, the Netherlands, as well as the Luxembourgish being liberated. Now, one thing that I've been thinking about, and I remember Drew had a very funny video a long time ago. I think there was a mod that buffed the crap out of Luxembourg. I really am enjoying doing the Hearts of Iron content, and I want to do more, but I want to make sure that it's what you guys want to see on the channel. And that would also apply to things that you would like to see next on the channel. So feel free to leave a comment. I read them all. But yeah, the Russians are definitely stalemated over here. However, in the West, it's like gangbusters over here. The Netherlands and France are just racing to Berlin. And I think it's only a matter of time before Italy goes as well, because Italy is definitely not as strong as Germany. And if Germany is getting dominated like this, Italy definitely will. And meanwhile, down in Anatolia, the naval invasions continue. The Soviets get pushed out and then they naval invade again. So I think that they're trying to break the stalemate, maybe if they can get an encirclement. But Byzantium is still very strong. They have like millions of manpower from all the core territory. So I don't think it's going to end the way the Soviets think it will. But it may be quite a bit of a stalemate, because if the only way they're going to get through is either naval invading or through the Caucasus, it's going to be painful regardless. That is so poetic. Italy has assumed faction leadership of the Axis. And people complain about border gore in EU4, but allow me to introduce you guys to post-war Europe in Hearts of Iron 4. We have a couple of, like, you know, German partisan things going on here, and whatever the heck this is. A lot of land has been returned to people, but like the Netherlands are over here, France is here, Britain is over here, but like, what is going on, man? This state over here in the Rhineland has switched places between the Netherlands and Belgium like 4 times in the last like month of the game. But with Germany capitulated at this point, we're just gonna have to see how Italy and Byzantium handle their business. And there is a lot of Ruskies over here in these pockets. This is a lot of men. So it doesn't look like they have that many men, and the ones that they do have are quite under-equipped. This might be the beginning of the end as well. I can't believe Russia is doing as good as they are. There's probably quite a bit of lend-lease going on from the Allies, if I had to guess. Yeah, just a couple of nations lend-leasing to the Soviets, aka literally every single one of them. Even Luxembourg is lend-leasing to the Soviets, so that is absolutely legendary. 1 advanced artillery going to Soviet Russia from Luxembourg. You love to see it, folks. And here it is, post-war Europe. We have the Warsaw Pact with an independent Poland, but everyone else around them is Soviet. We have the British occupation, the American occupation, and the French occupation zone. Of course, a united France, a Republic of Austria, independent Kingdom of Romania, and Yugoslavia over here, with Bulgaria in Macedonia and randomly in Bulgaria again. Aside from that, the Byzantine Commune is a thing. And everything is honestly very Soviet overall. We have the Finnish Democratic Republic as well. I don't know how they dropped the ball like that, but they certainly did. Out in the east, Japan is continuing to fight despite getting kicked out of mainland China. They still have their lands over here in Korea, though they are getting pushed back in Manchuria. so probably going to end up resulting in the white piece if I had to guess. So Greece, being one of the poorer countries in the game, does have an interesting focus tree, and going down it you can form Byzantium. Byzantium in the hands of the player, very powerful. Byzantium in the hands of the AI, unfortunately, not so much.
Special thanks to ALS Gamer, LeGrand Puba, Chio, Josh Kaczynski, Edge Rhino, Juan Damon, Ian Powell, Cannon Fodder, Corporate Gaming, Anthony Grove, Harry Newhouse, Saranska, Ricardo, Cobalt, Rex, Total Farce for It, Drunk Binary, Nathan Albright, and many more. Thank you. For early access videos, check out the join button or the link in the description below.